I guess it's part of responsibilities also. For example, teachers.
Right.
It's not like you can take leave when your students are there waiting for you to teach them. Then it doesn't make sense, man. Sadly, your crunch time is whenever they have to study until your holiday. Then you can only take during that period. But for most cases, largely it's because of the management finding certain excuses for their inability in some manner rather than because they really find you indispensable.
We are talking a lot about like work stuff, and today we're going to explore a little bit more of the fun topic of work-life balance. And here with me today, I have some of my very good friends that recently during our chats, they have very interesting ideas, and I thought I would like to, tickle their brain and find out what they think about today's topic. And here with us in the studio is Cyrus and Di Ming.
Hello.
The very first one. I want to go on a much needed vacation, but my boss says he sees the value in my work and I am indispensable. So it's very hard for me to even find free periods of time to take my annual leave for vacation. My boss. Red flag or green flag? Alright, in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, interesting. Yes. Okay. So I am on red flag. We have Cyrus on green, and we have Di Ming on red flag. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down the line from Di Ming first, and slowly come back to me. Why do you think the boss is a red flag, Di Ming?
Annual leave is part of your pay package. Technically, you should be able and be entitled to take them. I don't think anyone is truly indispensable in the company itself, especially if let's say if it's your manager, especially your direct manager. Right. Your direct manager should be able to perform what you have been performing, and therefore they are your manager. So in that case, right, they can probably take the responsibility. Also means to say he don't have the ability to take over your work. Then I guess that will mean something else.
But what if they don't have the time? Like they can do it, but it's just I have my managerial duties as well. If I can do myself, I don't need to hire you, ma. I hire you because I got no time to do, ma.
Yeah, but if let's say you are going on leave, then technically there should be someone to cover. It doesn't mean that you are indispensable. That means that actually I also will be able to cover your work. It's just that whether I can afford the time. And if no one can afford the time in the whole company, means the company probably should start hiring people.
Then Cyrus, what do you think?
Sometimes projects come up, deadlines happen, and as managers are like, you generally get more busy as you go up higher, right? So sometimes they just don't have time, and if there isn't time to take annual leave at a specific time, so be it lah. Obviously, ideally, throughout the year, you will still be able to clear some annual leave. It might not be at a time you like. If you are able to clear it at some point, maybe the company just mandates you take a block leave at a certain time. Take it or leave it. And then you just suck it up and do it lah. Especially if you're client facing, I think it's probably something that's harder to negotiate.
Right. So do you consider this work-life balance when you take the L and be like, okay, now my company gets to decide when I can take leave?
It makes perfect sense for, let's say, the company have their own busy period and you have to adhere to the busy period. But at the same time, then they must also offer the what's the balance in the other sense. Of course, certain periods then they will be able to allow you to take leave at your own timing as well. I really don't believe the whole company can be forever crunching or forever be so busy. It's either you're extremely high paying or maybe you should start reconsidering.
Ooh, will you reconsider though? Let's ballpark like 5-figure salary, right? And then, but your company treats you like indispensable in quotation marks. You still get to take all your full entitled leave, but there are very specific windows for you to take those leave. Like, will you leave your job, your 5-figure job for it?
I think that's quite standard, right? To have periods of block leave across many companies. Whether it's the right thing or wrong thing, I think it's okay.
I think it's common as a guideline. Like, the company's not going to reject you if you take crunch. But you come back, it's going to be like, oh, some people, we crunch already, then you still zao, then now we even more crunch. But it's not going to be like no, I'm going to reject your leave now.
Ultimately, the company is there to make money, right?
Yeah.
And if you are not going to be there during crunch period, the company has to think, are you able to help them make money?
Okay, to me, it's a red flag because I stand by this motto very strongly. You are a leader because you have people. When you have no people, you are people, right? So if the company cannot, like what Di Ming say, manage its schedules and like manpower properly, you're not indispensable, you're essential to like the functioning of a company. It's a mismanagement issue, ma. I think that is a thing that people always, just suck it up. Eventually you climb the corporate ladder. Just because everybody do it, that doesn't make it right, no. And some people think that, but being like indispensable is a good thing, means I like SAF like that, right? Cannot get fired. Right?
Okay, I think in some scenarios where you're already expecting this in their position, I guess it's part of responsibilities also. For example, teachers.
Right.
It's not like you can take leave when your students are there waiting for you to teach them. Then it doesn't make sense, man. Sadly, your crunch time is whenever they have to study until until your holiday lah. Then you bo pian, you can only take during that period. But for most cases, largely it's because of the management finding certain excuses for their inability in some manner, rather than because they really find you indispensable.
Auditors have a very standard calendar. It's public knowledge. So it's teachers, right? You cannot siam one. But corporate, right, literally is when they song to crunch, they crunch. And if they need more money, then they crunch. IPO coming out, they crunch. You don't get to know this when you interview, right? There's not going to be a question you ask about when's your crunch? How often do you crunch? Is it crunch cannot take leave? Their impression is going to slap you in the face when
but
you
can ask what?
You can.
The fact that you don't ask means that it's probably not a deal breaker for you.
You could go and surface all your concerns, but do you not have concerns then that because you surface so many concerns that these are all red flags for the recruiter and then they eventually just may not select you?
Yeah, I don't raise them because they are not deal breakers for me.
Also,
if it's one for you, then you should raise it. I don't need the flexibility in my leave. If I get my leave, I'm actually quite happy.
It really is on the boss. And it's not often that we can tell the boss, hey, manage better, Or am I cleaning up your poop every time? It's like, if you manage properly, then we wouldn't have to be in a situation where I'm labeled indispensable.
I think still weigh the pros and cons.
Yeah.
Like usually in this kind of case, then hopefully you are compensated in other manners.
Yeah.
What would be a fair compensation for taking away this freedom?
I mean, up to the person, but maybe in this case, like higher salary, I guess.
I think that is not a very fair thing because just because I got money doesn't mean in that time period I get to spend it. That's a very warped concept that a lot of people hold. You don't need to spend a lot of money to live a good life when you have the freedom. For example, when your friends, for the people who are mattered to you, can go together with you and do things. Imagine you can only take break when nobody is free. I mean, okay, like if you're a solitary hermit, good for you, right? But if you're not, right, like you're normal human beings, right, you need social contact to live, right? Bro, that's damn tough, no? It's very hard to then manage work and then manage your friendship circle, no?
True. And definitely agree with what you say, but in a perfect world where everyone is woke and there's so much wokeness everywhere, then sure, then of course this kind of thing, if you can both, definitely. But unfortunately in our reality, then most companies will offer only a balance, whereby certain requirements are being offset by other requirements. You have to weigh your options. And of course some people get better options. They get better for both worlds. Some people don't even get any of those options at all.
Do you agree that money is a fair compensation for?
Yeah, it's a question of how much, of course.
How much do I have to pay you more? We don't talk about current salary, we don't talk about just tamba how much, right? Would you be then okay that your boss gets to decide? Exactly, that means you don't need to apply. He tells you when you can or cannot take leave.
I think I'm in a different circumstance because I don't have like any commitments that absolutely require me to, I must take leave on a certain date and all that. So for me, it's not a big thing. So the additional compensation is probably not that much.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like in the future when you have like kids and stuff.
Then it's different.
That one already damn
different,
right? And my friends are getting married, no?
Yeah,
then they have children. So when we were talking about this, everybody was quite fervent about it. No, that time I wanted to go watch my daughter's first recital. My boss tell me crunch, no. And it's really crunch. It's the kind of $1 million kind of thing. You better settle it or else. But he missed his daughter's first recital. Then he's like, I don't know how to compensate. Because I get the money, right? Then after we got a big bonus. Why am I going to buy her a dollhouse? She has $1 billion dollhouses.
In that case, then unfortunately you cannot forgo leave lah. Like leave must be one of your flexibility.
If the company is willing to just control you, right? They're going to pay you money. If you have a kid, you're really going to need that money though.
That is a difficult question.
Right. Because
if flexibility ultimately becomes a deal breaker, then it has to be a deal breaker.
You just need to internally reflect whether or not it matters to you and don't argue for argument's sake. Yes, it's cool to have freedom, but it's also really cool to have money. So think on that and then figure it out.
Like if taking leave at MC is an issue, then the boss should say it from the start.
If the boss from the get-go tells you, hey, if you take too many leave, too many MC, doesn't look good on you.
Too much MC and you really don't do any work, then the issue is honestly with the worker.